Welcome back. You know, investments are a good way to save for a rainy day, but what happens when the forecast is especially stormy? Here to tell us more about the changing investment landscape and how you might want to adjust your strategy is Brian Halasim. He is here to just kind of clue us in on how the market is these days. Good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you? Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. The landscape is changing. Is the old way still the best way to invest, or are we looking at a whole different theory here?
Well, the answer is yes and no. Most of the fundamental principles of investing, in our opinion, still apply. What's happening right now, though, is that fear is trumping fundamentals.
Sure.
So it's much harder for investors to look at things that usually matter. However, there are some things that have changed, and one of them is the volatility of the markets. You know, if you're an investor, you know that volatility has been, in some times double the average. And so how do you respond to that?
Yeah.
And how you respond to that is very different than what you've done before. So one of the things that I think investors have to really consider is, first, putting together a proper plan, but once they put that plan together, how do you execute around it and make adjustments to the asset allocation, the mix of investments that someone owns, to speak to the volatility? And we can talk about that a little bit today.
Yeah, let's do that. Well, first of all, let's go back to the market. Jane King shows us the market every day goes up 100 points, goes down 100 points. In the old days, 100 points was a lot. Nowadays, 100 points is absolutely nothing. You don't even look at it. Should you be looking at that every day and worrying about that, or is that not really the indicator?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
The market is going to be volatile. If you look at stock returns in the past, they've been very robust, but they've been robust with quite a bit of up and down along the way, and you have to live through those rides. That's why you take risks to get a little bit of return. Now, the volatility is abnormally high over the last few years, but that's something that if you can adjust to, you can actually make quite a bit of money over periods like the one that we're in today.
All right, let's talk about the importance of planning, planning your strategy out.
Well, most investors don't have a plan at all. Usually,
isn't that amazing when you think about it?
It really is. The investment space has become more of a product sale, and investors are either going to be swayed by things that can protect them against the fear that they have, or actually get them excited based on returns that they've been able to achieve in the past. We have found that that is really a lost strategy. In fact, there's an independent study that shows, and I think we have a slide that can show you this, that over long periods of time, investors have sabotaged their performance because they have not had a plan. They go in the market when things are good, they come out of the market when things are bad, and what has happened is they actually fall short of the markets they're trying to outperform or even mimic the investment. So let's talk about a plan.
Okay.
People have to recognize that the only way to come up with a proper asset allocation is to speak to things like spending, aspirations for giving money to children or charity, time horizon, and also risk tolerance. And so one of the ways that we do it is by helping a client understand the difference between core and excess capital.
Right.
Core capital, and we have a slide to show this as well, core capital is the amount of money somebody needs to endow their life, to meet their spending needs until they pass. Usually we think that you have to be more conservative with that core capital.
Yeah.
The second bucket is excess capital. That's money that's going to go to children or charity. You can be more aggressive with that, and proper planning should determine how much core you need, how much excess you have, and then build around it.
Right. We've got to go. Unfortunately, we don't have a whole lot more time for this, but if somebody's just getting started, it's hard to do on your own. You really need to talk to a financial expert about this kind of thing, don't you?
Look, we think so. If you look at today's volatility, you have to have experts that can make adjustments around it and even offer services that can diversify better. And there are things today that can be delivered to a private client that used to only be able to be provided for the ultra high net worth client that can really help.
All right, Brian, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
We appreciate
Thank you for having me.
Have a good Friday.